I have a problem with everyone going on podcasts and talking shit about everyone. It sucks, dude. It just sucks. Like when I see some comic go out and talk about some other show that a comic's on, or somebody's bashing another comic that they came up with, or they're talking about how they don't Kill Tony.
But Chris, name no good comics are doing that. I haven't seen one like legit comic talk shit on another one like
there are no
in public.
All right, so what we've got here is Brendan Schaub, Eric Griffin, and Chris D'Elia doing this weird routine where they trash comedians for trashing comedians. The lack of self-awareness in this podcast segment is unreal. Brendan flat out says there aren't any good comics who talk shit about other comics, while Chris is, at that exact moment, doing what? Talking shit about other comics. Chris even doubles down and says he doesn't like it when comics criticize Kill Tony, but isn't that the entire premise of the show? Kill Tony is literally a setup where comedians get up, bomb in front of strangers, and then Tony and his buddies rip them to shreds. That's the whole formula. So apparently roasting unknown comics who are barely finding their footing is fair game, but saying something negative about Tony, one of the most successful comedians in the world right now, suddenly crosses a sacred line. The logic here is wild, and the best part is Rogan calling Tony one of the best roasters alive, which only makes this funnier because apparently good roasting only counts if you're punching down. Then Chris starts whining about comics who make a living just talking shit, like that's their one skill, which is ironic beyond belief because that exact description applies to Kill Tony. The entire show is make a living roasting nobodies. His example? Some no-name comics with a podcast taking shots at Kill Tony, and he acts like that's unthinkable. So Tony can build a career humiliating beginners, but the second those beginners clap back, oh no, that's completely unacceptable. Chris even tries to pull Bill Burr into this as some kind of example. He claims Burr is above trashing other comedians. But Burr has been openly criticizing comics a ton recently. And when Burr actually sat in on Kill Tony years ago, he couldn't stand it. He said it was cringy, that it was lowbrow, and that Tony was just punching down too much. So if Chris really hated comedians tearing down other comics, logically, Kill Tony should be the #1 show he despises. But no, instead, he's out here defending it.
Right. There's no, I mean, look.
Nobody that you respect.
No, you can argue that, yeah, look, obviously, you know, there are comics that are above it. Like Bill Burr, Chris Rock, you know, the big guys, but they're above that. But there are people who are that are not above that, who made their living that way, you know, who made their living talking shit, who made their living getting clicks. They're not. They're the people that what are they going to do? They can't not do that anymore. You know, but I mean, I saw a clip the other day with these comics that were, you know, they were not well known, but they were talking shit about Kill Tony, and it's like
hilarious.
Just, you know, why? Like for what? For what?
Because he's the big dog.
I know, but it's like
when you get to a certain level, like people are gonna take shots. It's like it's a weird comparison, but it's like I'll talk shit about the UFC. I love the UFC, but I talk shit about them because they're so massive.
Yeah, I understand.
Like they're so big. Like
I understand.
It's just what you do.
It's different when it's a company, when they're talking about actual people, like comedians. It's like that shit affects people.
This is the recurring theme. These guys always prove that comedians are secretly the most sensitive entertainers alive. Chris sounds like he's tying himself into knots trying to justify this. You roasting people below you, totally fine. Roasting people above you, suddenly a mortal sin. And the funny thing is, Tony himself used to be a struggling comic throwing shots at others. He's literally the definition of the pattern Chris is criticizing. It gets even better when you remember Kill Tony has roasted Chris and Brendan multiple times. So Chris going out of his way to defend the show just feels desperate, like maybe he's hoping Tony sees it and tosses him a guest spot out of pity. Otherwise, why would he care this much? Eric Griffin then chimes in with this brotherhood of comedy angle.
We're not even talking about his special. All we're talking about is like what he does, what he says.
He's just salty.
And I think that
he's just
sucks.
salty.
I don't think it's good for the brotherhood. I don't like that shit.
Yeah, it makes
Brotherhood. What brotherhood do you speak
There's
of?
no
The one that
brotherhood, yeah.
kicked my friends out of the brotherhood?
there's no
The one that kicked my friend Chris and Brian out? What fucking brotherhood?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, weird. There isn't any, but whatever.
Brendan even says Rogan leaving ruined the whole scene, which is hilarious because Rogan himself insists comedy is stronger than ever. So which is it? Brendan just sounds bitter. Like he blames Rogan for his own career not taking off. He's always reminiscing about the golden age of comedy in LA, like it was some utopia, while ignoring that for most people, it was anything but.
I tell you, this is a byproduct of people being so concerned about social influence. This is what this is really about. I mean, social influence is everything. It drives engagement, it drives revenue, and people don't want to anything that they think is going to take away from the money that they're going to make. They're going to put up the tents and be like, nope, that's it. It's just
They're going to protect it.
Yeah,
they're going to protect it at all costs.
Yeah, at all costs.
Even if it means
man.
losing their friends, whatever. Whatever.
Yeah. So
it's all good.
I mean, I always say I feel like it sucks that loyalty is not something that people value.
Yeah, no, not at all. And it's weird too because
Except for your boy here.
Yeah. Oh, there's a few. There's
Hello?
a few. No, there are a few.
Oh yeah. Who else, Chris? Who else?
There are people.
Name.
Well, I don't know if they want to speak of them, but
in the spotlight. In the spotlight.
Well, but that but nobody actually but that's a thing where nobody cares. Some people
do you know anyone who's doing shit that doesn't get this type of hate? Do you know anybody? Name one. I can't name
one way or another. Yeah, from one way or another. Yeah.
Name one dude who's actually.
Yeah, no, but
making
it's
money.
different when it comes from the fucking actual community. You know what I'm saying? It's different when it comes from the community.
Yeah, what community? You guys keep saying this community.
Right.
Community
Well,
full of cucks,
what's supposed to be the
soft
community?
people.
What's
Well, it was.
supposed to
I've
be?
been around for a while. Yeah, there was a community.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there was.
Yeah.
I thought at least.
Yeah, exactly. I think I believe that the internet helped to destroy that.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
Because now.
But also,
let's make
Eric,
it because
I agree. There was a community. There was a community but before Rogan left. Like those, whatever, 5 to 7 years. It was the golden age, right?
Yeah.
Then they shift gears and go after Marc Maron, calling him jealous and bitter. And okay, maybe he is sometimes, but they act like even acknowledging flaws in other comics is off limits while doing the exact same thing themselves. Eric even whines about Jeselnik and Maron trying to say what comedy should be, while at the same time insisting comedy should never involve comics roasting each other. He doesn't hear how contradictory that sounds. Here's the reality. Comics talk shit behind the scenes constantly. Acting like it's bad for the community is just posturing. And the biggest irony here is that Rogan's defining career moment, the thing that skyrocketed him into respect as a comedian, was him publicly obliterating Carlos Mencia for stealing jokes. That was him talking shit about a comedian, and it changed comedy forever, but now apparently that kind of thing is toxic.
That's my problem with like what Marc Maron does. Is like
Yes, taking the high ground.
This moral high ground and this like a genius complex that some of them have.
To be like,
Jeselnik's got that. He's got this genius complex that it's like, well, this is what comedy's supposed to be, and Marc's telling me like, man, I just care about comedy.
Jeselnik's different than Marc. I like Jeselnik. Jeselnik's different than Marc. Marc's a salty bitch. Jeselnik will do it like when he goes after Rogan or something. It's still in a funny way, and it's kind of his thing, right? Being kind of that asshole.
Yeah, well,
I don't know.
I don't mind Jeselnik.
I don't know.
Anthony's my friend.
I like
Tell him to
Jeselnik.
his face.
No, yeah.
I don't like this.
Yeah,
I don't like
Jeselnik.
that shit. He was talking about Matt. I hit him up. I was like, yo, dude, did you watch it? I was like, I directed that special. And he was like, oh, I didn't watch it. I said, oh, okay.
That shit just makes me feel bad. I mean, like I personally, I like Jeselnik whenever I see him.
I just don't like that. I don't like that
Jeselnik's
shit.
awesome. He's a dark comic, though. That's his thing.
I know.
But it's not Marc's thing.
I know, but when you carry it over into a podcast saying, fucking this person sucks, and you don't even know.
Yeah.
Maron doesn't even know that Matt has an act. Like that, Matt has an act. Yeah. You don't have to think it's funny.
Crazy.
But
that shit's crazy.
So I don't know, man. I'm just saying it sucks. Dude.
Well, the
when I see comics getting dragged or whoever getting dragged, it just fucking always sucks, man. It always sucks. Even if I don't like them, I'm like, it sucks.
But in general, like the fan base that's gonna buy tickets or watch your show, they're already conditioned to this bullshit, this toxic community.
Right.
Most of them are like, ah, fuck it. They pass it.
Maybe starting now, but like not up until now, it was rough.
They also defend guys like Matt Rife and Jeff Dye, who Marc Maron recently roasted, but stay silent when it comes to Theo Von, which is weird because Theo used to sit right alongside them back when the podcast was king and the sting. The one person who actually got the most viral bit of criticism from Maron is Theo, and none of them had anything to say. Why is that? Maybe they just pick and choose who's safe to defend.